And we are live. Welcome. Can you see and hear me? Boom. Type on. Let me know if that can happen. And then I can get this discussing what needs to be discussed. We are in the final countdown of the 12 weeks. So, can you see and hear me? It's going to be the first thing I want to do before I talk about anything else and answer your questions. Can you see and hear me? Can you see and hear me? Type down there. Anything. Don't like to start unless I know that people are getting the technology part settled in. So, if you're listening to this and you can kind of see it, can you read there? Can you see and hear me? And I will start this archive version after all this so that people can join in after. So, still waiting. So I'll hang out for a minute. If you're on a phone, I apologize. But if you could just go like anything, like Y, just type the letter Y and hit go. And then I'll know that you can see and hear me. Or N. Yes. Hi. Okay. Nice to have you here. So, final week, folks, from Austin, Texas. Hello. Gonna be in Austin next April. Turns out I'm gonna be speaking at the Texas Veg Fest in Austin, Texas on April 4th. So if you want to come say hello, that would be quite lovely. Yeah, just plant the seed now. Give you plenty of time to plan for it. Okay, so let's get right into the questions. This is the last week. I'm not sure if you guys, whoever's here has watched the archived versions, but I'm very much focused at this stage of the game, being that it's the final week and I'll do one more live Q&A, by the way, this weekend. But to make sure that you are prepared and equipped, you're prepared, but to make sure you're equipped with the days to follow. I just checked in with a client today who I stopped working with over a month ago, just said, hey, got the steps list going still? She says, yes, I do. So the first few weeks when you don't have the daily emails and the weekly videos and these live Q&As, you kind of think, I've got this. I don't want this to turn into a excitement about the diet kind of model where then you burn out. This applies to the small steps. Being a small stepper is also, in a way, maintaining your sort of calm about this so that you can think long term. Get excited about other things. Get excited about the amazing things you're doing on your list. But in terms of being a small stepper, that's sort of got to be like it's kind of how I roll. It's what I do. I maintain a list and I maintain my stress so that I can be happier and healthier and then I can do cool stuff and be healthy and vibrant and feel good and be a good parent and sister and son and father and whatever else. So the small steppers aspect of us is simply a mindset, is not a thing to get excited about. It is not a thing to get all ramped up and then burn out on. It is a thing to say, it's who I am. It's how I negotiate a very stressful world. I keep in check. I keep engaged in my life. I don't ever phone it in. I don't ever wake up 3 months later and go, oh my God, it's already 3 months past and I didn't do anything I was supposed, that kind of thing. We go, yeah, it's been 3 months and busy 3 months. So I haven't done as much on the list as I usually do, but I've continued. I'm doing deep breaths and I'm eating well most of the time and I'm moving my body and maybe I'm not doing a 10-mile run. Maybe I'm doing a half a mile walk. Pretty amazing, because before I wasn't doing anything because I always thought, oh, when I have time, I'll start exercising. When I get the new job, I'll start exercising. When I, et cetera, et cetera. Small stepper goes, yeah, I've been exercising every day, most days. I'll miss a day, don't care. Most days I exercise. And I started off, by the way, with one squat, and now I'm up to half a mile walk. So I'm progressing. Or they say, I started with a 1 mile, half a mile walk, and I realized it was too less. I had more time, and I really enjoyed it. So I went from a half a mile walk or 1 mile walk to a 5 mile walk because I do it with friends and it allows me to socialize. And so I just went from 1 mile up to 5, but I'm still in check on my stress. I'm still aware because I check my steps list and I go through each step and I go, is this stressing me out? Is this too little? Is this too much? Am I feeling overwhelmed? Am I dreading this one? Am I doing this one most days? And we read our first task and say, who am I really? Am I making a presence in my own life enough to make me happy? Is the real me making a presence in my life enough to make me happy? and healthy and to lead me to healthy behaviors because I'm keeping my stress levels limited and regulated. Okay, so with that said, okay, so what do you got? Now I'm in question mode, answering questions. It goes steps list. Short-term steps list post the 12 weeks. Maybe you reduce it a little bit. Maybe you bring it down. Maybe during the 12 weeks to experiment, you brought it up and you've got 10 steps on there. Maybe in the first few weeks, post 12 weeks, you bring it down to 2 steps. Just so you definitely have it. You're getting used to do it on your own. You've got it in your pocket, the paper. Boom, you know it's there. Oh, deep breath. 5 squats. Boom, 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 boom. Done. And you go on. And then in 2 weeks when you're like, yeah, I got this. Okay, fine. I got it. I don't need the daily emails. I don't need Sid. I don't need the weekly videos. I've got this. Okay, now let me bring those steps back and let me get back into the swing of things. So that's the deal there. Okay, so are there any questions? And there should be other people joining this, but not yet. So you just shoot questions that you have. Maybe you're typing away. Otherwise, this will be the shortest live Q&A in history. And so let me know if you have any questions or if you're feeling, my alarm went off. Look, it says Q&A. I set alarm. You know why? Because I'm busy. I forget. I use technology to keep me in check. Don't poo-poo technology. Just use it in a way that helps you doing the deal. Okay. Nancy asked a one-word question, and I now have to figure out the multitude of interpretations that can occur based on a one-word question. Overeating? Do you mean, am I Sid overeating? Not at the moment. Have, like yesterday, but that's not. Okay, so if you're talking about that you're dealing with overeating and those issues, I'm feeling like a dumb because I'm doing that a lot lately. Okay. Dumb ... I know what you mean. Okay, so Nancy, I'm going to say it once and I'll say it again. As tempted as you are to go for a solution to that problem, a direct solution, like somebody going, well, what you do is you put this note on here and you count these calories, as much as you want to do that because you want to tackle the problem, and I get it, and I'm going to give you a solution to tackling that problem. Use these things in the future, starting today, as signs of something that may be not working quite as much in other areas. I really want everybody watching this archive version to start thinking in this way as a yes, you want to solve this thing, and if it's really bad, of course, like you got to deal with it. But if it's just generally something you don't want to be doing and it's not ruining your life, you're not like in a rehab kind of thing. But if it's just a thing where you like, I'm doing this, okay. The mistake that's made, frankly, is that we say, well, I've been overeating a lot lately. Okay, so let me tackle food. What I want for every small stepper to say is, I've been overeating a lot. Why? Why am I stressed? What is causing me stress such that I'm overeating? Because you have to remember that if we are overeating, let's be clear, like if we're over drinking, like if we're overdoing drugs, that we are just trying to alleviate stress. Okay? We're trying to alleviate stress. That's what this is. I overate last night. I know exactly. I've been working a ton. I've had barely any days off. I'm exhausted. So I'm trying to sort of keep things in check a little bit. So I'm trying to, during the day when I'm at work, I'm just barely eating anything because I know like at home with the family, I'm sort of going to eat. I'm trying to kind of make a good deal. Today I had barely, I had a smoothie and then like a little bit of veggies. I taught a cooking class, like very little, and then I'm gonna have a decent sized dinner. But I've got to keep things in check. By not regulating the food per se, that's part of the problem, part of the solution, but not really. Part of it is, in other words, what I mean by that is getting rid of trigger foods, as they call them, whatever, but foods that are technologically enhanced to make your head light on fire are very hard to deal with. Like it's hard to have cookies in the house for me because I don't care how hungry or not hungry I am, I'm going to go for the cookies. So first, there are some very practical things like removing those things from your sort of sphere of influence, right? But really the big thing is to ask this question. This is where journaling is phenomenal. Why am I overeating? What is it about? What am I not dealing with or dealing with too much? What's out of balance such that I'm needing to alleviate stress on this level? What is it? And that's the question you ask. And part of the way you answer that question is to go back to your first task and see who you are. Are you somebody who overeats? No, I'm not somebody. This is not who I am. Don't beat yourself up over overeating. We all do it. And certainly don't beat yourself up if in your first task you wrote, I don't overeat. I have a healthy relationship. Once in a while I'll feast, but generally I don't overeat. It's not who I am. Then you can look and say, I've been overeating lately. That's not who I am. Why is that? Why am I, the real me, not living in the world as much as I was before? What is this? These are great signs. I mean, these are amazing signs. These are a little smack in the face like, hey, pay attention to other things that are going on, not food. That's the solution to the stress. Where's the stress coming from? Journaling. Get to it. Take a 2 minute, if you want to put a journaling, this is a good time to put a journaling step on your list if it's not there yet. 2 minutes per day. Start. You might not get an answer the first day or the first 7 days, but get in the habit of it so that in the future, when these kinds of habits come up and you're aware of them, now you have a journaling step. Here's my journals. You want to see my journals? This is how little they are. Those lines are between journal entries. I don't write for minutes and minutes. I usually just do a few sentences to clear my head. That's where I'm at. Somebody else could be at a different thing. That's where I'm at. So ask the question. In a moment, ask the question, why am I this stressed? What is going on? And even if it's something pretty heavy that you're not dealing with, you don't have to fix it right away. You don't have to then go, oh my God, I got to have this super painful conversation with my spouse / parent / son. But you know. And when you know, then you can start formulating a plan that eventually will solve the real issue that is leading you to the overeating. But don't make this about the overeating, because it's really not. Most of it's not, I'll say. Some of it may be, and that's because it could be food that you're surrounded with that is, like I said, lighting your head on fire, in which case there's some practical things to do with that. Putting notes on that exact food that says, ask yourself if you really want this. Don't say don't eat it, because maybe one day you want to eat it, but just say, ask Nance, dear me, do I really want this right now? Just so you take a moment to say, do I really want this? Practice walking away, even if you come back. Practice just the action of walking away, and then go right back and eat it and overeat it. But in the moment, can I physically walk away? Of course you can physically walk away. But what does that feel like when you're walking away? I turned away and walked away from this thing. How weird. I can actually do that. I have more control than I've been telling myself and that people have told me over the years. I do have control over this. So today I walked away as a practice and I went back and I overate. But I'm telling you, you start building in these kinds of actions. You start being more aware of your behaviors. You start being more aware of what you're doing and not doing that is in accordance with you. And you're playing the me, not me game that you guys all learned about. And you get used to not beating yourself up, but rather be in an information gathering state at all times. What is this telling me? And how can I deal with that better? And if I can't change the thing that's stressing me out, okay, fine. Take steps. If I'm drinking too much, get the alcohol out of there. Or put a note on the can of beer that says, check in before you grab this without thinking. Do you really want this today? Not saying not to eat it. Not saying not to drink it. Do you really want it? So information gathering as a small stepper, that's what we do. We're very aware and we look at our steps list and we negotiate these things and we ask ourselves when we see a step, how am I around this? Am I too stressed about it? Am I not stressed enough about it? Is it fine as is? This is information gathering. We're always in this moment. And it is so minimal time-wise that we're able to pull it off time to time. We don't need to go to a 10-day retreat to ask these big questions. We're day to day, man. We're like, quick check-in. I'm in the line at Starbucks, quick check-in. I'm at home, waiting for my TV show to start, quick check-in. You get into the habit of being a small stepper. That's what this 12 weeks was all about. I can teach you the information in an hour. This is in the protection of having me as a coach, learning the habit of being a small stepper. Now, post 12 weeks, it's using your talent and your abilities to now bring in the things in your life that you want to bring in. And that's the deal there. Long answer to that question. Woo! Okay. What else? Is there anything else? And don't, like you said, I feel like a dumbass. Why? Because you overate? Good Lord. If I felt like a dumbass every time I overate, I would just be walking around going, I'd have a t-shirt, just dumbass. It's like that's living in the world surrounded by food that lights our head. You didn't overeat plain lettuce, I'll tell you that much. It's a challenge. Look, it's freaking hard. Life is hard. I'm just trying to make it a little easier. I'm not selling you a magic anything that says now life is going to be easy. It should be hard. That's what that is. But what if we make it a little bit easier? What if we are able with our tools to engage in our lives in ways that keep ourselves knowledgeable about the lives we want to live always. Always on our radar is the life, the ideal that we shoot for, even though we know we probably won't get there all the way. But day to day, we want to move in that direction. And when we do that, every little thing that we do that benefits us makes us feel better, makes us feel like we're doing something about the lives we want to live, makes us feel like we're acting, we're actors in our own movies. We're not watching, we're engaged in that. And when we do that over time, we learn to do that over time. Lo and behold, some of these behaviors that were go-tos for us to dissipate a feeling of not being actors in our lives go away, because now we changed the game. We said, you know what? No, I'm in it now. And now the behaviors, we don't need those as much. We don't need to overeat as much because we are engaged in a way that we weren't before. But yeah, nobody's a dumbass for struggling. I mean, good Lord, with the things that we are up against, it's very unnatural. I mean, it's very unnatural, the amount of stress that we are under day to day. It's a miracle to me that most people get up and go to work, given how we are generally eating, given how stagnant we are. Then we overcompensate for that by beating ourselves up in the gym and overworking out. We're not socializing. We're on social media instead. That's very stressful. That's why our brains are, totally out of whack, because they don't have the natural interactions with people. This is massive. So let's kind of take it easy and say, I'm not a dumbass. I'm having the problems that everyone else is having. And I'm the first one to say I am too. I've never said I got it all figured out, but I will say that I am in a good state of trying to figure it out day to day. I am in a good state because I'm a practicing small stepper of checking in with my stress, asking, why am I not playing music as much as I was before? What is it about that? And I want to have an answer. And if I don't have one, I want to figure it out. And sometimes it's an answer that is what it is. I've been working a ton over the last 3 months. Well, I need to make some moves. I'm not good at saying no. I'm always like the guy who goes in, and I'm realizing that it's affecting my family. Like, this is a real thing that's happening to me. So I'm like, today, I was like, I'm coming in late today. That's hard for me to do, but I had to do it because I'm like, what's at stake here? Like, this is a real thing for me. And so these are hard decisions. These are hard questions, and these are hard answers to hear. And as you progress and be a small stepper, and more, it will get easier. It doesn't get easy, but it will get easier the more you build a practice of self-care in this way, to recognize when things aren't working and be able to take steps to make them work better. So, okay. What else? Or nothing else. If you're good, let me know that too. But again, I will do one more Q&A this weekend, and that'll wrap everything up for everybody, hopefully. That was in it. The next session is February 2nd. Not for anybody who's watching this, because you're in it, you're done. But for, if you know anybody, let them know. February 2nd will be that deal. Okay, what else? Anything else that I can help you with? And just let me know if not. Say like, I got it, I'm good. Or here's my next question. Vegan dating. I don't know. I think there's websites. I've been off the market for quite a while, but 25 years. But I believe there are sites. I've thought about this a lot. This is a weird thing. Like my wife is plant-based. I know people who are like, I've worked with people who are like, I'm plant-based, but my spouse/partner isn't. Man, that's a rough one. And I've met couples who were like, one person is like super religious and the other person is totally not religious. And I'm like, how does that somehow they make it work? I don't know. What am I? I'm not a marriage counselor. All I can say is, ads, like old school ads. I wouldn't go on Facebook and all that kind of stuff, but ads, and websites. Maybe there's vegan dating websites. I wish I could be more helpful. I'm totally not the guy to talk to about that, but I would just kind of fool around. Also, maybe looking into like farm sanctuaries or even PETA. They're a little hardcore for me, but whatever. But maybe they have leads, so that could be a thing. You say it seems like it's hard to do. I like to think I'm tolerant, but I'm faced with it now and perhaps not so tolerant. Yeah, when it comes to when it comes to ethical things, I don't know if you're plant-based, why you are. For me, it's an ethical decision, and when it comes to ethical decisions, I'm not tolerant. I gotta say, like it's a thing for me. Like it's I don't want to get too much into the personal reasons I am plant-based, but part of it is the ethical. Most of it is ethical. I do it in a healthy way. Great. I'm a nutritionist. I try to let people know about that. But it's an ethic and a compassion level. So I don't think people should be tolerant of that. It's on one hand. On the other hand, if somebody's moving in that direction and you think, they have values of compassion and they just don't know enough about whatever, but you can see that they would move in that direction, I think that's amazing. And I started with health, and I started with Health Truth 2002, and then I learned about everything else. That happens a lot, right? I do think that I argue, and I do this when I speak, at the events where I speak, I argue that most people are compassionate and most people are humane. I really believe that to be true. And I want to focus on that. So as intolerant as I am about action that is not compassionate, I don't think that the people who are necessarily doing that are not compassionate themselves. I think that they're not connected to their actions enough to realize that what they're doing day to day isn't compassionate. Not because they're not compassionate, they just don't know. So there could be something I'm doing day to day right now. The shoes I'm wearing, all of a sudden somebody could be like, you know what? Those shoes, that company hires slaves to make their shoes. In which case I would say, holy crap, okay, I'm not ordering those shoes anymore. Now, it wasn't that I was a bad person for wearing those shoes before I knew, it was just that I didn't know, now I know. Now, the question is, do I continue with those shoes, in which case I'm not the best person? Or I go, oh my gosh, okay, good, not doing that anymore. So for some people, it is a knowledge, again, this is about knowledge gathering, right? Being a small stepper, this is knowledge based. So on one hand, you cannot tolerate bad behavior and unethical behavior, absolutely. And at the same time, you can show compassion for somebody who is in the process of learning themselves. And that's a balance that only you can find out. You have a sense of somebody that you're with. If they're like, I don't give a crap about that, that's stupid. What you do is stupid. Well, clearly you should be intolerant to that because they're not even open to learning what you're doing. But if they're like, it's something to think about. I'd like to learn. That's kind of interesting. I don't know if I'll go all the way, but I've kind of never thought about that before. That's a cool person. That's a thoughtful person who's compassionate. I think that he or she deserves maybe a chance. So, I taught a cooking class today with a guy who's not plant-based. I don't even ask, but he said, I'm not plant-based. But it was a great discussion, and he's clearly open to it. He's learning, and he wants to know about this stuff. And I think that's phenomenal. I'm not going to not be friends with him because he doesn't do exactly what I do. I would actually be friends with this guy because he's intelligent and has a curiosity about things that I really, really appreciate. And so that's a way that we can be compassionate ourselves with people who they're not on the same, maybe on the same path, but we're further along the way. That's all I'll say about that. So good luck with that. That's a rough one, man, the day and age, rough one. But how cool is it to meet somebody who wants to learn just like you did and made a change? Everyone goes, oh, you've always been plant-based. I go, no, I wasn't until I was 38, for crying out loud. I wasn't always, I was 30. What, always plant-based? Wait, 17, I was 33. I wasn't always, 33 years, I wasn't. I learned and changed. So it's doable, for crying out loud. So, okay, can you tell us about the gardens and programs involving them at Raven? At the Raven? Oh, you mean at the Stanford Inn? Yeah, at the Stanford Inn Resort. There's organic gardens. There's a biointensive farm that has research going on. They have interns. It's from it's called Grow Biointensive. Grow Biointensive, or if you Google don't Google ecology. Grow Biointensive is the way to go. There's an ecology action that's not their ecology action. So Google Grow Biointensive. Anyway, Grow Biointensive is a school that has a few different research gardens, and the Stanford Inn hosts one of them. So that's what we have there. We have a guy named Matt who runs that thing, and he has interns and things like that. So they have the interns. We have an environmental leadership school in the summers for students that we get them into those gardens, but they also do cooking and nutrition as well. And also people just show up and they get a gardening class. They sign up for a gardening class, a private class. So we do that not all the time, but guests come and they go, I want to take a cooking class, or I want to take a gardening class, or I want to take a nutrition class, or a creative play shop, or something like that. So that's how that goes. You can read about that on the Stanford Inn website, stanfordinn.com. Anyway, that's it on that. But the Ravens is the restaurant at the resort. It's the resort's restaurant, but the resort itself is Stanford Inn. So, in case anybody's wondering, that's where I run. I run the wellness center there. Okay, you're very welcome. Is there anything else I can help you with? Otherwise, we'll shut this down, and you'll get an email probably tomorrow, actually, noting the next and last live Q&A of the 12-week program. So, thank you for being involved and keeping on it. Super cool, and I'll archive this one tonight probably. Anything else? Anything else? Let me know, just so I don't want to stop it if you have any other questions. All right, April 4th, Austin. I'll be there. Cool. Come up and say hi for sure, for real. All right. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I hopefully will see you this weekend. Have a good one.